Om Puurnnam-Adah Puurnnam-Idam Puurnat Puurnamudachyate Purnasya Puurnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamacharam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Tirgunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Utpatti Prakarana, and section number is 63. Insight into Vedanta. In other words, insight into your essential nature. Who am I? What is the truth? The definition of the truth is that which never changes. So it's an easy way to understand and figure out. Bring to your mind anything and just put a question. Does it change? If it changes, that's not the truth. Another surprising aspect of truth, that you are seeing nothing but the truth. Changes are illusions. Sri Vasistha continued, through the power of Maya, Brahman is capable of assuming all forms, everywhere and at all times. Brahman is all-pervading, the essence of all that exists. For easy understanding, through the amazing power of the mysterious magic, your own consciousness turns into a dream world. How big is the dream world? It has extension of time, space, causation. And you cannot describe it. It's indescribable. But the reality behind your entire dream experience is your own consciousness. So while you are dreaming, if someone were to tell you from the dream itself, the dream person, even in dream, a good association, bad association. You dreamt and led to a good association. And in that association, the dream guru says, all this is false. You are Brahman. As long as you are dreaming, caught in the dream, this type of teaching will not appeal to you. You will tell the teacher who is saying all this is false, you will say, you are yourself false. So I'm not going to listen to it. Similarly, human mind becomes terribly confused, handling this great statement, truth alone exists. Truth alone triumphs. Nothing else is real. Let me give you also the general basis as explained in Vedanta. Brahman is the absolute truth. But Brahman has a magical power called Prakriti. That again is allegorical language. Since everybody recognizes oneself as an individual person, and with so many, and a world everyone faces, taking into consideration that type of experience, Brahman is the source of all this magic. That magical principle is called Prakriti. Prakriti has three aspects. Sattva predominating Prakriti is called Maya. Brahman through Maya plays the role of Brahma the creator, Vishnu the sustainer, Shiva the destroyer. All these three aspects go on even in your dreams. But all is a magic show. One who is under the influence of that magic, that means jiva overpowered by ignorance. All this is for that jiva, to bring jiva to enlightenment. All these teachings are being given. If you are enlightened, then you don't need any teaching. You don't take a Upanishadic book to the solar region and place it in the hand of sun god. I'm joking. Same Brahman, through Rajas predominating Prakriti, that's called avidya, manifests as countless souls, much in the same way as the same sun manifests as countless reflected suns. You cannot count them. Even in a little drop, the sun is reflected. And same Brahman, through tamas predominating Prakriti, manifests as matter. But Vedanta speaks of matter in a profound way. Even your mind, intellect, ego are fashioned by subtle elements. They are all in the realm of matter, called padartha. In Brahman, all padartha doesn't exist. Padartha bhavana. All padartha, mind, intellect, ego, chitta, senses, vital forces, organs of action, physical body, all these are fashioned by root elements called tanamatras. They are described as ether, air, fire, water, and earth. But they are not to be considered as you experience fire, etc. They are subtle root elements. And they go to compose in different proportions, called a Panchi-karana movement. They go to create your internal organ, which means mind, intellect, ego, and chitta. The same go to evolve your pranas, vital forces. They evolve your senses and so forth. And they are the basis of evolving all the world of matter, physical matter. So if you take Prakriti away, Prakriti is a magical power. If you take the magical power away, then Brahman is just Brahman. A magician is skilled in hypnotic type of illusion. He brings a group of people around him, and he hypnotizes them. In that circle of hypnotism, everyone sees what the magician says and what he wants them to see. Anyone who is outside of the circle hears all this and smiles. So the magician is telling them, look, right in front of you, I'm sowing the seed of mango, a mango seed. Look, it's sprouted. Look, it's grown up. It's blossoming. And fruit is coming. And the monkey has come up on the tree and the fruit has dropped. It's so ripe. Let's all have a little taste. And all of them go after it. They have picked up some little pebble and licking it all over and enjoying it. I mean, give me a big picture of illusion. But one who is not deluded, looking for a distance, he just smiles. Nothing is there. The magician alone is there. But while I'm describing that in an allegorical way, things are not so simple. Your mind has to go through a great meditative enrichment. Mind has to be subjected to meditation, inquiry, samadhi. Then that mind brings about that awakened state. The world, which is like a long dream, as if you begin to wake up from it. But sometimes your waking up is not absolute waking up. Even in dream, sometimes you develop a sense of awakening. It is a dream. And dream continues. But once that has entered, it is a dream, your experience becomes totally on a different level. That Brahman, through sattva, he expresses peace and harmony. Every soul experiences. Experiences are led by the three modes of nature. When sattva is in your mind, same set of situation, you will view in a totally different way. Rajas, now the same set, things have not changed, but your experience is totally different. Tamas, another. Say, for example, if you are in a temple and sattva is there and you are enjoying your prayer and spiritual inspiration, you feel how wonderful. You are in heaven with God. But when Rajas suddenly comes in, then you look into your purse and you have left your iPhone somewhere. And someone has closed the door of the temple. Being inside with so many things in your mind that you wanted to do, feeling restricted, same setting is there. Rajas has now created a totally different situation. You are just waiting, when can I get out of it? When will the gate open? And tamas puts you in a still more gross state of your mind, that someone has punished me by shutting myself into this temple. My God is in my room, puja room. This God I don't want. So I've just elaborated on these three. And that goes on happening day by day. That's the mind's ordinary psychology. If you are mature, then you don't get, you allow the body, mind, and all that to follow changes that occur due to three gunas. But all the gunas are needed in your daily life. Whenever you are involved in some practical performance of any job, you need rajas. And you need sattva to have perfect insight and inspiration in your job. Otherwise, you have nothing but perspiration. And you need also tamas to relax and get away from everything you are doing. But I'm describing now the healthy form of gunas. But people suffer from unhealthy aspect of the gunas. Sattva brings you a sense of peace. The moment sattva brings you, sattva is not enough. Because if you are in peace, you should not think of anything. But if sattva is in a small measure, giving the sense of peace, suddenly your heart says, how wonderful, how wonderful. I didn't experience like that. When I look around, see, this is the place where I got the peace. Let me buy a piece of this place. So, sattva became your enemy. Little sattva. Now, if I were to develop that, you really bought a place, invested money. You have to wait until you build up everything. And when you build up everything is settled, you hear the hurricane is coming. Lord Hari is coming with a cane. Tamas sets in your mind. All agony and pain and sorrow. If you are highly mature, then you allow each, watch your mind and the gunas. If there is tamas, you figure it out. Is it because of the lack of your thinking you are getting into tamas? Are you being tempted by the tamas? Or is the tamas healthy aspect? So therefore, it's healthy, it means it wants you to go to sleep, and it's wonderful. Invoke Nidra Devi and go into her arms. And if it is rajas, then think of what plan you have in your daily life, what type of work requires a lot of your exertion. Use that time and use that type of mode of nature that is active in your heart. If you're sattva, then figure out what will be the type. Create satsanga, chant divine name, dance. Talking in a sattvic way. When seen through intuitive vision, the entire world is Brahman, the Absolute. Those who are not enlightened, they maintain the difference between Brahman and the world process. The unenlightened mind cannot handle that. You are daily seeing the world, and the mind asks the question, why did God create this world? What was his purpose? And when you are in trouble, all teachings tell you, turn to God, get His help. So therefore, the reality of the world is one side. Your mind can't negate it. And as long as you can't negate it, God becomes related to the world, He is the creator. So therefore, unenlightened mind cannot shed duality. Duality will continue to exist with unenlightened mind. The idea that Brahman possesses Maya, that the world is an expression of Maya, and that Brahman is the body and the world a part of his body. All these are based upon ignorance. There is no such difference between the world and Brahman. Simple way to again understand the. When you see all illuminations of the sun through a childish mind, you view these illuminations as a reality. Rainbows, shimmering clouds, and you go on holding them, pictures of these, and you have filed of thousands of beautiful illuminations. And then the mind starts, who painted all this? God must be a tremendous artist to paint the rainbow, paint beautiful clouds, paint the whole sky as blue. The fact is, all this is not real. You are the one who are seeing those things. But he will not advance unless someone gives you some answer. So the simple answer is given, the Creator. So work with it until you begin to understand you are a ray of that Creator. That's three types of relation. Deha buddhyatu dasoham. As long as you were gripped by the body reality, consider yourself, you are an instrument in divine hands. You are a loving slave. God is the profound motherly master. Jiva buddhya, come to another level of understanding. You are not just the body. The reality behind the body is your jiva, soul. As such, you are a ray, and God is like a sun. At jiva level, all your power and potentiality is unimaginable. The ray of the sun has immense power because it's resourced from the sun. Come to the third level of maturity, Atma Buddhya Tavaiva. From the deepest level within me, I and Brahman are one and the same. This sums up your spiritual progress. You start with you are worshipper, God is being worshipped. Come to another level, you are growing in the image of God. Third level, you and God have no difference. Led by ignorance, it is a pure consciousness, Chaitanya or Brahman, which assumes the role of the individual soul and continues to flow through the world process, led by the instructions of the scriptures. It rises to the expanding horizons of its intrinsic glory. On the other hand, driven by the illusions of the ego and going against the spiritual wisdom, it continues to whirl in the cycle of birth and death. This is a summary of two movements, Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. Uttarayana movement, this is all allegorical, but very important to understand. Now, Uttarayana literally means northern path. Deeper meaning, first step of Uttarayana movement is Vairagya, represented by Agni, fire. Always understand all things of this world that please you, no matter how much they may please you, they cannot be grabbed by you. They are all slippery. So, don't ever live in the world with humiliation. Rather, you yourself become wise. Since you are slippery, I'm not going to catch you. Since the world is slippery, I'm not going after it. That's childish. So that's called Agni, fire, Vairagya. You don't go after objects of the world in a humiliated way, driven by your mood and desire, but understand you are the ruler behind it. And therefore, do not be trapped by appearances. That's Vairagya develops, that fire. Agni, next point is called Jyoti. Now the light of your understanding that is constantly clouded, that light begins to manifest. In simple terms, it's called Viveka Buddhi, discriminative knowledge, Vivek. You begin to see the difference between mirage and the desert. The mirage of water, how beautiful it makes the desert look. Dear. They go after mirage and they lie down dead. I should not be like the deer. The world presents a lot of mirage, the barrage of mirage. And I will not live my life just going after. When you begin to develop that, Vivek is coming. Along with it, you get a subtle inspiration to understand that deep down you are light of lights. And the third point, therefore, you don't live your daily life with a spirit of boredom or a spirit of being compelled to live. What can you do? But live your life with a spirit of fulfilling the purpose of life. And the purpose of life is to attain liberation. And liberation being the goal, life should become a source of inspiration. That ideal has to be kept before your mind. That ideal should allow your mind to go both ways, pleasure, pain, joy, sorrow, gain, loss. But the ideal remains an overpowering fact. This is a mature way to understand a life of sadhaka aspirant. Let me give you a spiritual parable. So parables make you hold things in your mind. Once Narada was going to Lord Vishnu. On his way, he meets an ascetic who is practicing intense austerity. He developed, according to his own mind, he developed intense Vairagya. He doesn't want to live in this world. He wants to attain liberation fast. And he has already put himself into a terrible austerity. Fire on all sides, and he is inside, surrounded by fire, Panchagni. Seeing Narada, he adores Narada and says, please ask Lord Vishnu, how long should I go on doing this? How long it will take for me to attain the goal? And Narada says, very well. Then he meets a devotee who is under a big tree. And he's talking to the birds, he's dancing, he's looking at little flowers. He's adoring everything. And he's doing his japa. As Narada passes by, he also says, please ask the Lord, will I be able to meet him? And when will I meet him? The story says, in a short while, Narada returns and he meets the person who is doing intense austerity. And Narada says, your austerity is very powerful. Lord is coming just in 5 years. You will have the 5 years. Oh no, I can't just stay with him even for 1 day. He jumps out of all that, runs away. Oh, the torture. No more. Narada goes to the devotee. The devotee also looks at him with curiosity. What did Lord say? Narada said, Lord will meet you, give you darshan. But look at how many leaves are there on this tree. When all those leaves drop off, that's the time when Lord will meet you. He became very pleased. He had no rush to meet Lord. He has already befriended all the leaves and beautiful squirrels. I'm joking. His daily life was full of joy. And now the goal is focused, the goal is coming. There's no rush that the goal has to come immediately and disturb all this wonderful ecstasy. Try to figure out the idea of how quickly you want to attain self-realization. And when the devotees started dancing, that's wonderful. Immediately God appeared before the devotee. He didn't have to wait for us. All the tree turned into God. So what explains the attitude towards the spiritual movement should be a form of joyous patience. In that situation, ego begins to melt. The moment ego melts away, you are nothing but God. God doesn't have to come from anywhere. Now coming to that northern process. Agni, fire, Vairagya, Jyoti, Vivek, discriminative knowledge, and sadhana in daily life. Third stage, Aha term is used, deity of the day. Then Shukla Paksh, the waxing moon. In the firmament of your heart is described like a sky. And just like the moon begins to make the whole sky light up in a profound way, the love of God begins to develop within your heart. That type of feeling, what gives you great happiness in this world is your feeling, not what you know. The more you know in your head, the more tricks you get in your head. Mathematics. What actually you experience is what gets into your heart, feeling. That feeling, led by, if you are not following the spiritual path, that feeling is in a terrible state, moha-based. But now the feeling waxes, goes on becoming higher and higher. And your consciousness begins to expand. Uttarayana, like the daytime goes on expanding, increasing. That's the northern path of the sun. And then ultimately you are the sun, the divine self. So the whole process leading to, first to realize you have come from the sun. You are from the solar rays. And you are going into the sun. In between, you come from the moon, full moon. The sun represented by Rama in a storyline, the moon represented by Krishna. They are two aspects of the same northern path. If you are not going through this northern path, the other path, Dhumo Ratri, Yatha Krishna, you encounter, in your life, what you are encountering more, not Vairagya, but a kind of a murky vision. When a vision is defective, you look at a person, and person's nose is two noses, not one. Joke. So your vision of what you should want, what you should get, and the world becomes very fascinating, but don't know where the fascination is and how to catch it. That's called dhoom, as well. Look as if we are walking through the mist. Dhumo. Then becomes Ratri. Even that misty state goes further, becomes dense. So much you don't even know what to do, where to go. And then in your heart, whatever good feeling you used to enjoy, even that is dumped. The moon is waning. moving towards complete dark night. And now your consciousness goes on decreasing instead of expanding. And you are led to, it's an allegorical way, you are led to the moon, not the divine moon. This moon is that which is lit up by the light of the sun. It doesn't have its own light. So by the time you go to the moon, it's all dark. You have been led to something fascinating, but it doesn't have a real source of joy in it. In other words, and this process will bring your cycle of birth and death. Having followed the process, you go into the cycle of birth and death. The first one, follow the process, you are liberated, no more coming to the earth. Next section, section 65, giving more insight into consciousness. Pure consciousness is the reality, known as Chit, Chaitanya. Brahman is pure consciousness. Sri Vasistha continued, O Rama, through the veil of ignorance, the illusory mind arises from Brahman. Having arisen, the mind projects the world process. All objects of enjoyment are essentially mental creations. That requires very simple understanding. Objects of the world, are they real? Yes, from practical point of view, yes. When the food you put into your tongue and if it's lemon, it's sour, it's real. But that's kindergarten level of reality. Your experiences are based upon your nervous system. Your physical body has no ability to experience anything. Put your hand anywhere, but your nerves are not there. Your hand is as much as this thing is on this. Your whole body is nothing. You go to the medical hospital to learn that. But even the brain and nervous system, they themselves are inert matter vitalized by subtle energy coming through them. That subtle energy is a mystical energy of mind. Mind flows through your nervous system. So, to every human being, human realities are the realities. The same energy going through the mind of a bird, a swan, works in a different way. Going through the mind of a dog, cat. In other words, same world is being experienced by souls led by their mind. And even as human beings, things are all standard. For every human being, water is water and fire is fire and so forth. But then everyone, led by the mental state, experiences the world in a different way. So all the world that is you experience is based upon your senses. If your eyes were fashioned differently, you will be seeing a different world. So, first level, the practical reality itself is not stable reality. Second point, the psychological counterpart. How you handle objects, that also is. Every individual lives in a different world. No two persons are exactly the same. All that being led to understand that soul goes on experiencing illusions until enlightenment, when all illusions move away. But if we want to stay on with illusion, that's called bhavavyadhi, disease of the world process. And that disease of the world process is very dangerous. This worst addiction. When the mind is transcended, all multiplicities of this world, such as Brahma, the creator, Jiva, individual soul, mind, Maya, all things that go to form the ingredients of the world process, all disappear. The absolute truth, Brahman, alone remains. The individual soul is like a tiny whirlpool in the boundless ocean of its own essential being. Your own essential being is like the whole ocean. But in that big ocean, an individual has developed identity with a little wave and caught into that illusion. What has this big ocean done to my family? I have my mama wave, my papa wave. Hardly time to wave them goodbye. They go, okay. I'm joking. From that level of understanding to another level, I am the ocean. Both are at the same time, just change of angle. But that change of angle is the whole subject for every aspirant to achieve. And that has its own time, just like how described. But your patience should be just like the patience of the devotee, who knows that he is going to succeed, but all the leaves have to fall. But doesn't matter. Once you have your heart set on the goal, you don't face your day with pessimism. Your day becomes purposeful. And when a slight little movement towards light, towards God, gives to your heart such fulfillment that the idea, when will I be attain liberation, that idea simply doesn't bother you, doesn't come to your mind as a stress. And that's the healthy movement towards God realization. The shifting dreams of a dreamer are illusory. Just as the dreamer himself is the reality behind the dreams, in the same way Brahman is the reality behind the long dream of the world process. And with this I will conclude. Om Puurnnam-Adah Puurnnam-Idam Puurnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Puurnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.